you, Laura. Is that Laura?
Yep.
Yes. How are you?
You know,
Good. Yeah, I know. We're getting through.
yeah.
Getting through. Well, it's 7:35 now.
It is.
Yeah, it's great to see everybody.
It is
Oh,
So,
good to be around good people.
it
Right.
is indeed. Well, you give me the word, and we'll get this show on the road.
You got the word.
I got the
Well,
word.
yeah,
Yay.
well,
It's 7:30.
Darby, I'm
Yes.
I'm gonna mute everyone, and then you'll
Okay.
just need to unmute yourself, and then
Okay.
once we introduce Reverend Paul, he'll need to unmute himself as well.
All right.
And now you can unmute. Darby.
All right. I think we're on. Hey, everybody. It's so good to see so many familiar faces. I think I know just about everybody on the call tonight. This is great. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Darby Line, and I am proud to say that I have been a member of Jam and All for I think it's 8 years now. Wow. And some of that time I've been on the board, and I have had the honor of hosting several of these online roundtables. And it's really good to be back doing it again. So, hi and welcome. It really does take a kind of a village to put these things on. There's so much planning that goes on ahead of time and all the publicity and everything. But tonight, at the heart of this village is our amazing Zoom host and my dear friend Todd Humphrey, who is joining us from North Carolina. I just want Todd to jump on and say hey.
Hi, friends. It's great to be back with everyone tonight. And I'm just gonna interject and say it is awful to have to try and give a talk when everybody turns their screens off. So we hope you'll leave your screen on tonight. So when Reverend Paul is talking, that he can see your excited faces. So, and I'll
I
be back
second that.
later.
Yeah. We'll see more of Todd in a little bit.
Thanks.
But for those of you who might not know a lot about Jam and All, let me just give you a little nutshell. Jam and All stands for Jews and Muslims and All People. And it was founded very, very soon after September 11th of 2001 by a Jew and a Muslim who got together and they said, we've got to do something. We've got to bring people together and help people understand that we really are all one. So since 2001, Jam and All has been envisioning a world in which all of Earth's inhabitants are honored and cared for, and all people are valued equally and treated equitably. For 24 years now, Jam and All has been working toward that vision by connecting people through conversation and education, through conferences and get-togethers and potlucks and picnics and all sorts of gatherings, just all focused on the goal of creating peace and harmony and understanding among all people. So this evening is really a continuation of that 24-year legacy, as we are going to be exploring the topic of leading with love, how listening to our heart, letting it speak, and letting love lead the way can break down some of those barriers that we think are there that keep us apart, and help us deepen the connections between each other as members of one great family. And maybe by doing that, we can change the world a little. And we have a wonderful guest speaker to introduce that topic for us. And after he does his remarks, Reverend Todd's going to come back. We'll divide up into small groups. Then we'll come back, share our aha moments. Our speaker will sort of summarize, and I'll come back with some closing words and a special prayer at the end. So let me tell you about this guest speaker. His name is Reverend Paul James Tenaglia, and he has been an ordained unity minister for more than 30 years. Like many people in ministry, he came to ministry as a second career. He was trained and experienced as a professional actor and singer before Spirit revealed to him his true calling in ministry. He served unity centers in Santa Fe and San Francisco before he was hired by the well-known unity and New Thought author Eric Butterworth to be his associate minister at Avery Fisher Hall in Lincoln Center in New York. 3 years later, Paul founded Unity of New York. And 16 years after building and growing this incredibly vibrant, thriving spiritual community, he left Unity of New York and he went on to serve other unity centers in Washington State in Washington, D.C. And tomorrow, he observes his 1-year anniversary as the senior minister at the place I call not only my workplace, but also my spiritual home, Unity of Broward, formerly Unity of Pompano Beach, in Pompano Beach, Florida. Paul is grounded in the unity teachings of healing, abundance, and oneness. And he's committed to supporting people in living their fullest, richest, and most joyful lives. And it is my joy to present to you the person I get to call my boss, Paul Tenaglia. Take it away, Paul.
Okay. Am I on?
I hear you.
Can you hear me? Can everybody
I hear
me?
you and I see
Oh,
you.
good. I'm on. Good. Hi. Thank you, Darby, for that lovely, wonderful introduction. I have the blessing and the privilege to work with Darby every day. As she makes it fun. We have a good time together, to serving everybody and saying how can we make Unity of Broward the best spiritual center we could possibly make it. So I have a really wonderful partner in divine crime, I call it. So thank you, Darby, for all that. And thank you. It was wonderful to meet everybody here. I can see some people on the screen here. It's wonderful to see your shining, happy faces. You know, when I was invited to do this, I was told the title. I wasn't told the title. I read the title in the email I got, but I thought it said lean with love. And I went, oh, that's an interesting topic. Lean with love. It is lead with love. So we'll go with both of them. They're both really wonderful. But as I was thinking about leaning or leading with love, I also, what kind of came up to me was kind of a subtitle of a subtopic of love in the age of Trump. And I thought, well, no, that's like a 12-week workshop at least. So I'll add a little bit of what I thought maybe that might include as well. But no matter what the title is, love is what we're here to explore, is what we are called to do, and it's called what we're called to be. We are the love of God in expression. So I only have a few minutes to share with you, and I thought sharing on the topic of love, it's so large, it's so big, there's so much to it. And I thought I would share with you a little bit about where I first rather learned about love. It wasn't in ministerial training, that came a little later. But it came in the 3.5 years that I was in the Silent Unity telephone prayer ministry. I began working there when I moved to Unity Village to begin my ministerial studies and my training. And first I was a prayer associate, then I was a part-time supervisor, and finally I was a telephone prayer ministry trainer for new hires, for new people coming in to learn how to do the prayer work that we did in Silent Unity. I worked for about 3 or 4 nights. Sometimes I did 5 nights from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. And I took over 100 prayer calls a night. And I say that's where the real training for the work that I do as a minister comes in. I went through seminary, learned about everything I needed to learn about running a center and administration and putting a talk together. But the real training I did was working in Silent Unity, praying with over 100 people a day for 3.5 years. I can't even do the math on that. There are so many people that I prayed with and held in love and in light for so long. The most requested prayer request, I always ask people, can you imagine what it might be? Some people think healing, and some people might say prosperity. Actually, prosperity was number 2, and number 3 was healing. The number 1 prayer request we got in Silent Unity was on relationship and love issues. So many people were asking us to hold them in light, hold them in love, to find a mate, to release a mate, to heal a relationship that may be falling apart, to have help losing when they lost a mate through either divorce or infidelity or through death. I got a call one evening from a woman who was about to celebrate her 40th anniversary. And right before that day came, she was out doing some errands. She came back and she saw her husband's bags in the hallway. And he came out of the bedroom and told her, I no longer love you, I'm leaving. He took his bags and he moved to his new apartment. She said there was no other woman, there was no other person. He just fell out of love with his wife. She thought everything is perfect. We're about to celebrate our 40th anniversary and now there's nothing. Now I have absolutely nothing in my life. She loved him as much as ever. So she said to me, what do I do with this love? What do I do with this love that has nowhere to go? So I prayed with her for the fullness of God's love within her, that she was loved by God, that she was loved by the universe, that she was loved by her friends and family. And we blessed her husband with God's love as well as he began his new life. And I shared with her that love never ends, even though she said, I have nowhere to put that. We release the love that we are to the universe, to our friends, to our families, to everyone we meet. And I said, let the love within you heal your life. Let the love within you reveal the next steps in your life, in your new way of seeing the relationship with your ex-husband. One of the saddest calls I ever received while working at the prayer line was a woman whose husband had just beat her up, which unfortunately was a regular occurrence with this woman. She had 3 small children and she was devastated. She said, I don't know what to do. So I began to pray with her, prayer for safety and prayer for safety for her children, and for divine guidance in her next steps in revealing her freedom from this abuser. And she stopped me in the middle of the prayer and says, oh, no, no. She said, I don't want prayers to get rid of him. I want prayers that God will bring him back to me. I can't live without him, she said. I need God to bring this man back to me now. So we didn't have any prayers for that. I had nothing in front of me. We have a list of prayers that are for special times, and I had nothing to pray for in that way. So of course I went within and I said, all right, Spirit, you take this. So we prayed for guidance. We prayed for safety, for the love of God at work in her, in him, and in the children. Although we received many reports on how powerful the prayers that we shared had worked in others' lives, I wondered what more could be done for the woman whose husband up and left her. Was there more prayer that I could do for the woman whose husband was abusing her over and over again? We all want love in our lives. We all need love in our lives. The promise of love is found in all major religions and all major spiritual systems. In the Psalms, Psalm 145:20, it says, the Lord watches over all those who love him. And I was reading that and I said, what about those who don't know God or haven't had an awareness of God or weren't taught about God, have no awareness? Does God love them as well? Oh, the answer is of course. In 1 John 4, the author wrote, let us love one another because love is from God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, for God is love. But that leads to the question, what is love? What is this thing we're talking about? Cole Porter said, what is this thing called love? This funny thing called love? How do we lead with love? What do we do in our lives to let love take charge? What do we do to let this thing called love lead our lives, live our lives? Or as I first heard the title, how do we lean into love? How can I move forward into that power of love and let it change me? How do we let love flow forth for others when the news is so full of unloving news coming from the White House, from Congress, from the Supreme Court, from overseas? It seems every time we turn the news on, something drastic is happening and we feel overwhelmed. Our hearts hurt because we want to do something, and yet we keep getting bombarded by this news that love doesn't seem to be in charge at the moment. But the power of love is the healing power to bring forth what we're looking for, to help us rise above these challenges, rise above what we're hearing from a government that wants to erase the reality of people of color, of independent women, of the queer community, to the spouse who leaves this woman high and dry, to the one who is abusing his wife over and over again. The answer and the remedy is always release from within the power of love. But how do we do that? How do we release that? Scripture tells us God is love, as we just heard. But again, what exactly is love? In unity, in our tradition of the New Thought metaphysical movement, we define love as the unifying, harmonizing power of the universe. Love is the divine glue, as it were, that keeps molecules and atoms from flying apart. It keeps everything in love and wisdom moving forward. So if God is love and we are one with that energy of love because we are creations of God, why is it so hard to find that love, to keep that love, to let that love flow, to lead with love, to let it move forward before we do anything? I took a group of people from Unity years ago to Greece, and one of the stops we had was the island of Delphi. Now, as you know, Delphi was the home of spirituality in Greece, in Greek life for a long time. And I was just beside myself to find myself right next to the oracle, to the temple. And it was closing time, and it was very quiet. The sun was going down. I could hear cowbells in the distance. And I sat on the rock across from the temple, and I said, I'm going to have a meditation before the next day where we would bring everybody on tour. So I sat on the wall across from where the oracle was, and I closed my eyes, and I immediately went into meditation. And for the first time, I heard the feminine voice of God. Now, God always rather sounded like me. It wasn't anything different. But I heard a definite feminine energy coming from me. And I went into meditation. I went into the silence quicker than I had ever gone within. And I heard, the question I had was, what am I doing? I had been doing ministry for about 10, 15 years at that point. And I said, what seems to be missing from my ministry? What am I not doing? Or what could I do that would help the ministry, and more especially, help those I serve? And I heard from this wonderful voice of God, you're here only simply to love. That is your job. When you go home, when you go back to New York, your job is to love everybody who comes there, no matter what they are, no matter who they are, no matter how they act to you or don't act to you. Your job is simply to love them. The universe loves you and loves what you're doing. There's a bee flying around your head, and I finally noticed there was a bee circling my head. And the voice said, this bee loves you and is circling you and protecting you while you are sitting here in meditation. You are to go home and share this love. And all of a sudden, this burst from my heart just went through my entire being. My body, my soul, my mind, every part of me was filled with this love. It was so overwhelming. It was so wonderful. It was so exciting. I said, oh, here's what I'm here. I'm here simply to love the people I serve. Anything that comes after that is secondary. The talk, the classes, whatever it is I do, counseling, it's all secondary to loving every individual who comes to the ministry, who comes in that day, the Sunday or the classroom or wherever I happen to be. My job is to love. That's it. That's my job here on the planet, is to love and to share that love and to know that we're each made of that love. The image and likeness of God is love. That is who you are. That is who I am. And we have to remember that we are literally the love of God in the flesh right here, right now. We are either allowing love to flow or we're inhibiting that flow. We're either opening up, we're either opening to love, letting that love flow forth, or I'm shutting it down. There's nothing else. Am I allowing spirit to flow forth into my mind, body, and heart, into my relationships, into saying hello on Sunday morning? Or am I inhibiting that flow? So how do we inhibit God? What is it we do to inhibit the flow of spirit? When I am unkind, when I don't see the divine being of love in front of me, when I just look at somebody and say, oh, there's a problem. When I am not acknowledging the individual as divine, as merely human. When I see others as the enemy, when I see them as powerful enough to overpower me or take my power away somehow. or to see someone who doesn't see me. If I am trying to get them to see who I am, but they refuse to, I continue to leave love out of it. My grandparents were married for just about 50 years, and there was very little love there. They were living in New York City in the 1920s and 30s, having a very creative life. My grandfather was a talented tailor. My grandmother was a very talented hat designer. She worked for a very famous milliner back then. Her name was Lily Dachet, and she was my grandmother was one of her top designers. She was loving her life, living in Greenwich Village. She had friends, she had family. She loved where she was. One day, my grandfather, the Italian grandfather, back then in 1920s and 30s, you listened to the dad because you had no choice. My grandfather decided they were going to uproot the whole family, move back to Boston, where my grandmother and my grandfather immigrated to when they were very young. My grandmother's life, in her mind, ended that day. Her career, her family, her love of New York City, my grandfather, in her mind, took it away. She never forgave my grandfather for not seeing her, for not honoring her, for not loving her and the life that she was loving. She never forgave him. She never forgave him for taking what she loved out of her life. She made his dinner as a good wife back then. She kept house. She never really talked to him except to exchange information, but there was no love. She never forgave. You know, relationships, I think, are the most difficult and the most spiritually advanced work that we're here to do. One of the most powerful affirmations I received one day in meditation was, I am safe and secure in the love of God. I am safe to love myself and others. That's a really powerful meditation. It might seem very simple, but it's really the core of having good relationships. I am safe to love myself and others. We're safe to love others when we don't give our power away to them, when we remember who we are, that we are powerful creations of God ourselves. There's a wonderful group out in California. You may have heard of them. It's called the Institute of HeartMath. It was founded by a man named Doc Children, who brought doctors, scientists, artists, and others together to study and demonstrate the power of the heart to heal our lives. I actually did a one-day workshop with them to discover what they were doing. This is, I think, the first year that they were open. And they showed a slide. They put different heart combinations from different people onto a slide, heart cells onto a slide. And we could watch through the microscope different heart beating differently. Within a minute or two, they were all beating the same. These hearts were entrained with each other to beat as one. So scientifically, they were proving that we are one with each other. When we are loving, we come to know each other and we remember that we're one. One of the most powerful scientific discoveries in the past few years is that our minds, our brains, are not only found in our head, but are found in 3 different areas of our body. The brain, of course, is, you know, we're very aware of that, is the part that chooses vanilla or chocolate ice cream, chooses whether to live in Florida or Alaska, et cetera, et cetera. But the mind is also found in the gut. A lot of the research being done right now on the power of treating our gut well means that we're to feed it what it needs. When we're feeding the gut what it doesn't want, we find we are depressed, we find anxiety, we find a whole mess of diseases that could be cured and taken care of if we bring ourselves into divine order and balance and listen to our gut about what we need to have a healthy life. The third is our mind-heart connection. Did you ever receive news that shocked you and made your heart beat so fast you thought you were going to die? We all have. We've all gotten that. But that's the information that went directly from the head all the way down to the heart. The head overwhelmed the heart. And the heart began to take all this information and didn't know what to do with it. The mind of the heart knows the truth. And when the head listens to the heart, then we will be living out of love. When we don't, when the head is trying to tell the heart something, we run into trouble. Most heart attacks happen on Monday morning before work. That is very telling that the person's body, the person's soul is not happy, is being overwhelmed with everything it has to do, with everything that it doesn't want to do. When the heart is centered in love, we are able to take our lives back. We're able to take our power back. And when we are centered in love, we're able to lead. We're able to share that love with friends, family. If you're doing ministry, you're able to do that with the people that who are there and that you serve. Please take what I learned in Delphi. You're only here to love. That is your job. That's your ultimate job, no matter what you're doing the other 23 hours of the day, as it were. Your job is to love them right where they are, no matter how they're acting. We may need to step back in divine detachment and not take that energy in, but we can still love them from where they are. No matter what's happening on the planet, we can still be centered in love. No matter what's happening, whatever government weirdness or family or friends crisis, relationship problems we may be having or those we love are having, unexpected bad news, no matter what's going on, we can be centered in the love that we truly and really are. We can find our healing. HeartMath has a wonderful technique. It's called freeze frame. It's very much related to, and I really just discovered this recently, to the meditation form called Tongan, I believe is how you pronounce it. So I invite you to close your eyes just for a minute. We're going to do a very quick, it's a quick freeze frame so you can understand and you can go right to it when you feel stressed. So I invite you to close your eyes and I want you to picture something that you love. It might be your mate, it might be your pet, it might be your home, it might be your childhood home. Where's your happy place? It might be your creative life, your creative work. It may be painting or it may be singing. I want you to picture yourself doing it. Where are you? Who are you with? Focus on that just for a moment. Feel that love, feel that joy, feel that creativity. That is the love that you are. So I want you to center on that. Just be quiet in that just for a moment. Be there with that which gives you joy. Breathe it in. And as you're holding this truth, feel gratitude, feel love, feel joy. Feel the light of spirit moving from the top of your head all the way to your feet and back. Know that you're centered in your power. What gives us joy, what we love, is our power, is the power of God at work. And now bring to your mind that which is an issue that you're looking for clarity in. Perhaps you've been thinking about it or meditating and nothing has really come. Bring this issue where you are, in your creativity, in that wonderful home, with your pet, wherever you are. And simply observe it. Take a step back and observe it. What is it trying to tell you? Why is it in your life? What is the answer? Spirit has the answer. Spirit is the answer, of course. But everything that we need to know is located in that love, in that creativity, in that joy right now. You have the power to see the good. You have the power to bring forth the healing of that issue. Simply allow Spirit to do the work right here and right now. What is Spirit revealing? What love is looking to move forth? What energy, what idea is looking for expression from this? Let go and let God reveal what to do and how to do it. Just be with it just for a moment. Breathe gratitude and love for the right and perfect answer. Take a breath and open your eyes. We are grateful. And even if the answer didn't come right now, your willingness to be open and receptive to it is all Spirit needs. That's all it takes, is your willingness and my willingness to be open to the healing, to be open of love, to let love flow, to let joy and excitement flow forth. Well, thank you for having me here today. I'm so glad to be with you this evening. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say about all this.
Thank you, Paul. And something happens to me every Sunday when I listen to Paul give his Sunday message. At least one point, my eyes fill with tears, and that just happened. So I imagine it might have happened to somebody else as well. But I wrote down a quote that I came across from a man who's a Celtic spirituality author, and it just sort of speaks to what you were talking about, Paul. And he wrote that the whole cosmos is a self-giving of God, and we will find our place in the great dance only to the extent that we love. So now it's time for all of you to take in what we just heard, share your thoughts with each other in your small groups, and I will invite Reverend Todd to come back on and tell you how that's all going to work.
Thank you, Darby. And thank you so much, Reverend Paul. What a joy it was to hear you speak today.
Thank you.
For those of you that don't know, I finally got to meet Reverend Paul a couple weeks ago when we were at a convention out in the Kansas City area. So friends, we're going to break into small groups here in just one moment. But before we do that, I want to share just a little bit of information with you. We want to make sure that, it's lovely and wonderful to hear people, but the purpose of these jam and all roundtables is for you to sit in a sacred circle and share from your heart. And so we really do want and encourage you to participate in a roundtable if you are able to join the discussion. If you're not going to be able to, we do invite you to depart this meeting in the next minute or so, because I'm about to divide everyone up into some small groups so that we can have a conversation about the information that we just heard, and maybe find where leading with love has made a difference in our lives, to understand how living from love makes our lives better, but also makes the world a better place. And so we invite you to go into a meaningful discussion. So just be aware of that. Our roundtable discussions, we have some principles that we like to remind everyone before we break into groups, just to remember that, and these again were created by the Jam and All Interfaith Women's Group. We're here to accept, to be honest, to be open, to trust this process, and to invite everyone to show up with authenticity, with sensitivity, and know that this is not here for judgment. We are all works in progress. We are all walking each other home, and that we collaborate and respect our differences. We don't have to agree on everything. But we also want to make sure that we use our I statements, because we are talking from our own experience. We're here to support one another. We're here to make sure that we turn to the positive in all situations. We're here to invite risk-taking and to speak our experience into a community of believers that peace can prevail. To find commonalities, to keep each other as safe as we can, knowing that safety is a little bit different for each person, and that safety and comfort are not always the same thing. And most importantly, we join in these roundtables to hear, to see, and to be heard, and to be seen. And so we are here to see you, and we are here to hear you. And so therefore, we are going to break into some small groups. A number of people have agreed to be small group leaders tonight, and we appreciate everyone that was willing. So I will, these are the people that are going to be leading our groups tonight, and we are grateful for you. We do not need the full list tonight, so we're going to use Yona McWilliams, Chris Drum, Linda Pryor, Arlene Uston, Fran Craft, and Camrose. And if I mispronounced anyone's name, you will forgive me, I hope, since I add extra vowels to everything I say. So I'm going to start breakout rooms right now. And enjoy your conversations, and we will be back in about 26 minutes. And we look forward to hearing. Make sure you pick someone in your group to come back and report one. Everybody hold one finger to come back and report one amazing thing that you had an epiphany about, something that Reverend Paul said really touched you, some common thing from your group that is that piece of gold that we can all carry away from tonight. And so I'm going to send everyone into rooms now. Thanks for being with us. Welcome back, friends. We've still got a
Todd,
few seconds. Good to see you, Laura Stu.
you too.
I saw Barbara Laxton. I wasn't able to say hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's here somewhere.
yeah. Hi, Sophia.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, Irma, we see Barbara all the time on Facebook.
Hi,
Oh.
Urban. How are
I feel
you?
like she's very present with Jam because she always shares our Jam stuff.
Well,
But
you
you
know
don't
I'm
do
not on
that.
Facebook. I'm
Right,
not
that's
on
why
Facebook.
that's why I'm
know.
telling you that.
Friends, thank you so much. And welcome back
Everybody sees
to the
Barbara.
breakout rooms.
Sophia, good to see you, girl.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm gonna do this. 1 second.
Kind of preoccupied. I'm still working.
Oh, you are. Mm.
Mr. Todd, I love that look.
You love that look. I'm sorry, I muted you as you were talking. I apologize. I just muted everyone. What were you saying, Masuda?
I was saying I love the look of you arranging everything and getting everything organized. And we
Oh.
love to look at you at that way.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I sometimes see the video afterwards and I'm like, oh, what a horrible expression.
No, that tells us you're so busy getting everything done. And we love that look. I love that look.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, friends, welcome back. And I know that you had wonderful conversations. And so let's get started and invite different groups to share their golden takeaway. Our first room, I believe, had Camrose and Irma and Barbara and Susan. I'm not sure who else. All the rooms originally had 5 people, and then people dropped out, and I had to move people around. And I appreciate everyone's flexibility. Who is going to share with us from room 1? If you'll unmute yourself, I'll spotlight you.
It's me, Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. We had a very interesting discussion and we came up with a whole lot of things, but we picked a few that seemed to be the most important. And that is, the first one is, love is the answer to life's problems. And what the world needs now is love. Sounds like a song, doesn't it? And love has the power to change things and make our lives better. So that's kind of what we thought of a lot of things, but that's what we narrowed it down to. It was a very interesting discussion.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Susan.
You're welcome.
And Masuda, I believe you're going to report for your group. Hi.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity, guys. We had 2 Jews, 1 Christian, and 1 Muslim in our group. And I will be reporting on the group. Definitely a great presentation from Rabbi Paul. The nugget that we got, definitely love is powerful. And one of the things that Sharon came up with was empathy for people leads to love and amplifies it. Miss Beth, all things work for good in the universe as long as we have love along with it. Rabbi David, love can be a revolutionary force, can lead to unifying people of all cultures. And I definitely, to sum it up, God is love and love is God. So all together, that's what I believe in. And I think everything what the three people said unified us, and definitely great presentation from Mr. Paul. And the more love we give, the better we get at it. Um, um, and that's what the world needs at the moment. Political, non-political, religious, all. We need love in this world. It's even if we have differences, very hard to do, but may God give us the strength to keep going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Masuda. Wonderful, wonderful reporting. So let's see. Who our next group was Linda, Judy, Bobby, Jane, Paul. Who was going to report from that? If you'll unmute yourself.
I'm reporting from our group. Manuda, is that her name? Masuda? So what she said.
Masuda.
Everything she said.
Perfect, dear.
So a couple of things came up. Number one, we're here to love. We're not here to do anything. The only thing we're here to do is love. And something that was really powerful for me was to let love flow before you take action. It's like that consciousness of love. If you know that you're coming from that before there's an action, come from that, or let that flow. And that love, when we let it flow, it's what's healing. So the love within us heals us, which lets us heal others. So we talked about everything too. That was our nugget.
Yeah, that's just wonderful. Thank you. Let all actions flow forth from the presence of love. Love that. I might even preach on that sometime soon. Let's see. Our next group was Chris and Arlene and Diane and Opal. Who's going to report from this group?
Well, I was a lousy timekeeper. I'm sorry. So we didn't quite finish. But what I think I would like to do is I'll put out a summary and ask my wonderful group to jump in or add anything. I'll try and get this. Nancy started by saying, love everybody. That's what her mantra is. That's what she faces the world with. Then we discussed, Reverend Paul mentioned feminine energy. And and then Opal spoke about how when God is referred to as a he, that was very difficult for her to relate to, and so she struggled with needing to say it. But the feminine thing is that it's really a mindset, and one of the principles is how women make relationships in a horizontal way. We always make room. It's a circle. We always make room for someone else in the concept of it, because men are feminists as well, whereas the masculine is hierarchical and has some barriers to have to push away in order to have that free energy flow. And the idea of that marriage in which which his grandmother couldn't forgive her spouse for moving out of New York, and that not forgiving is such a burden. It takes space away from where you can resolve something, maybe, rather than have to carry that negativity. And it's being unkind also, maybe unconsciously, maybe whatever. If you don't
challenge and examine concepts as we evolve as a society, then we stilt the ability to have love flow. Please, my group, can you add something to? I had asked Diane to be reporter, but then I didn't leave enough time, despite Nancy's warnings. So that's what we did. Is there anything my group can answer? Say anything?
Okay, I have one thought. I just looked at a note I took that somebody said, which is really sweet. They said that listening to, is it Reverend Paul or Paul? That it was a reminder that love comes from the unseen, from the spirits, from the angels, from the guides. And he reminded speaking with, this was you, you had a depressed client and you were sorry that you didn't have more to offer them.
It was Chris.
But that love is everywhere. But that
And
is
huge,
interesting.
and it's
Yeah.
big space. So it's
You know what else? You know what else is very interesting is if you, and this is like sort of on the same theme of what Paul said, or Reverend Paul, is that if you ask the universe, if you really pray hard and you ask the universe, what do I need to see here? What do I need to learn? What am I missing? It's very interesting the way it doesn't come the way you expect it, but it'll come in little drips and drabs. Like you'll look at an email or you'll open a book and you'll open a page and then all of a sudden it's there. So that is a beautiful thought. The unseen is really oftentimes the seen, but you have to refine your vision. It's the ultimate ophthalmologist.
Thank you both. Does that complete your group? Everyone else feels heard and seen? Well, thank you so much, Arlene and Diane, for sharing. Fran, I think I need you to unmute, and then we're going to spotlight you, and I think you're going to report for your group.
Hi.
Hi.
We had a very inspirational discussion. Several of us were kind of not happy with the situation that's in the world and a little down. I didn't even know if I wanted to come tonight, but you guys just uplifted me. The discussion did. And Darby reminded us of the white nationalists from a couple of years ago at the conference, who totally did a turnaround because people approached him with love. So that was inspiring. And Sophia talked about Kathy Leonard, who is struggling but still has a very uplifting and positive attitude. So what came out was, we're not giving up. We are going to keep approaching things with love and optimism. That was what came out of our discussion.
Beautiful, Fran. Thank you so much. What great takeaways that you all brought back to the larger group. We are grateful that you invested in the conversation. Reverend Darby, Reverend Paul, who wants to speak? Or both of you? You're muted, Darby.
I was going to say, Paul, love to hear your sort of, what do you think of what they came up with?
Yeah, I loved hearing the conversations. I was sitting in group 4, I think. It was wonderful to hear the feedback and what people were thinking about, where they were, how they were processing what I was sharing. There are 2 things I want to address first. One was when I was referring to, I didn't really refer to God as male. I was reading from Scripture, which I didn't want to interpret it my own way. I just read what was in Scripture from Psalms and from 1 John. But personally, if I do reference God, I generally leave the pronoun out. But if I do use a pronoun, for me personally, I use she more than anything else, because God is creative energy, and creative energy is feminine. So when I do my own prayer work, I talk about the divine feminine, and the femininity, the feminine power of God is really what I resonate with. And unity also, along with the Quaker tradition, speaks of God as father, mother. So that is our balance of the divine male, female energy. God is all that there is. So, yeah, when you heard me say he, I was just reading the scripture on that one. But personally, I think of God in much more in terms of female energy than in the male typical, God, as we have learned about our whole lives. The other phrase that really always catches my mind, and we heard that a lot in Silent Unity, is silent unity. I need you to pray hard. And I always think, oh my gosh, how do I pray hard? All right, I'm ready. I'm going to pray hard here. Pray hard is actually an oxymoron. We can only pray light. We can only pray love. We can only pray uplifted. Pray hard means that I'm going to use my energy, and I'm going to, God, you need to listen to me now. So sometimes if somebody was calling and they needed to hear that, I said, yes, silent unity is we're praying with you right now. We're doing the prayer. But yeah, if we're praying hard, it means that I'm trying, rather than letting it go and letting love flow. So yeah, so thank you all for the feedback. It was really lovely. It was really wonderful to hear how you took the information and the sharing that I had, and made it personal, and that was really lovely. So thank you.
Wow. Well, this has been a beautiful evening. I'm glad that I had an opportunity to be in a group tonight, especially, we always say there are no accidents. The people you wind up in your group with are the people that you're supposed to be with, and that was certainly true for me tonight. So I would just like to thank Paul again for taking his time to be with us tonight, to share these thoughts. And I think we'll all be carrying this idea of love. And as my group came up with, we're not giving up, because love is all there is. I love poetry, and I love Maya Angelou, and I came across a poem of hers called Touched with an Angel, and the last part of it goes like this. It says, in the flush of love's light, we dare be brave, and suddenly we see that love costs all we are and will ever be, yet it is only love which sets us free. And I think that's a thought to carry with us tonight and in the days ahead. I would just like to leave you with a couple of updates. Jam on the 19th of October. Jam is having their fall jamboree. It'll be a great occasion. It's going to be at the United Church of Christ in Fort Lauderdale. And it'll be from 2 to 5. It'll be great. There'll be all sorts of like international food, and probably singing and dancing, and all sorts of, it'll be great. So mark your calendar. Save the date, and do plan to attend, because it's going to be great. You can find that information and everything about Jam and All on their website, which is jamandallinterfaith.org. If this has been a meaningful evening for you, as it has for me, you might want to consider becoming a member of Jam. It's only $20 a year, and that's for your whole family. It helps us pay for the ongoing costs of running this organization, which is entirely volunteer. So you can donate on the website. You can join on the website. And so please consider doing that, so we can keep this kind of programming coming to you month after month and year after year, because this is important work, what we're doing. It's really important work. This is how we change the world. So we thank you in advance for your support. We thank those of you who are already members. And we thank you all for your participation. I would like to close the evening by inviting Reverend Todd to offer a special prayer for our dear, wonderful Kathy Leonard. For those of you who don't know Kathy, she's one of the founders of Jam and All. She's been a staunch leader and supporter of this organization, and she's having some major health challenges now. So Todd, if you would hold her in prayer for us right now.
Absolutely. So friends, in whatever way is comfortable for you, I invite you to center yourself in this truth, and we let love flow, not to hold Kathy in in the bondage of a vision of illness, but hold her in light and in love, in the truth of who she is. And together we pray. Eternal One, source of all light, we pause in quiet reverence for your daughter, a woman of wisdom, of warmth, a woman of welcome. Bat Yisrael, a daughter of Israel who has walked faithfully in your ways, seeking justice, loving kindness, and walking humbly with you, truly walking as the presence of love. And now we hold the truth that she stands at a holy threshold, and we give thanks for her presence in this manifest life. We give thanks for her heart that broke open after great sorrow and chose connection over fear, choosing dialogue over division, always choosing hope over hatred. Kathy has been a bridge across differences. She is a keeper of peace in a fractured world, and she is and shall always be a friend to many faiths. And yet she is deeply rooted in her own sacred story. God of Abraham and Sarah, God of Hagar, of Ruth, of Miriam, of Esther, receive Kathy. With gentleness, with mercy, let her be unfolded in the great shalom that passes all human understanding. And whatever the days and weeks and months bring to us as we move forward, allow us to continue her legacy of love. Allow us to listen deeply, to love boldly, to trust in every tradition, and to trust that when we walk with an open heart, that we are the presence of love. We offer this prayer in the many names by which God is known, and in the deep silence where all names fall away. This we pray out to the One. And together we say, Amen, Shalom, Ashe, and so it is.
And so it is.
Blessed
Thank
be.
you, Todd.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing this wonderful evening with us. I wish you good sleep tonight, peace every day that follows. Many blessings to you all.
Thank you.
And